Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle, the wrestling video podcast I run here on youtube.com/UC Campbell. Again, we're going to be potentially changing that name down the line here to go along with everything. But we're not here focusing on that. We are here to focus on WWE NXT for September the 27th, 2017. And this show actually had quite a bit going on in it, at least in the terms of just content in general. Right at the beginning of the show, you had Regal pop up on the screen, and he was basically saying that that they were setting up a fatal four-way at the NXT Takeover Houston show for the vacant women's title, and said that Kairi Sane was going to be a part of that at that point in time. So now they have the official announcement of what they're going to be doing with the women's title, and you have somebody who's already in it. And apparently we're going to be getting matches over the next couple in like a couple of weeks to say what or to figure out who's going to actually be in the match itself. Now, after this, they cut straight back into the ring, and Sanity comes in through all of the different areas of the arena, and Eric Young ends up cutting a promo on Adam Cole and what he was going to do to him later on that night with in the terms of their match that they were about to have. Eric Young basically talks about them creating chaos, everything on that side of it, and yeah, just all those different things in general to go along with everything there. This was a decent enough promo. Eric Young always gives that like very grainy, raspy voice behind his promos and everything, so it does add a little bit more intensity behind it, and him basically saying that he was going to take Adam Cole to the edge of sanity and everything on that side of it. So it seems like they're bringing Sanity almost as babyface at this point in time, because they helped out Drew McIntyre one week. Now they're going after Adam Cole, and I still can't believe they call it the Undisputed Era in that sense of it. It was. Yeah, it is what it is in the terms of the name, but it's good to see Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly kind of teaming up and doing their own thing here in NXT at this point in time. So we'll see how everything ends up playing off of that, and we get that match later on in the night. Up next, you had Lars Sullivan going up against Oney Lorcan. This was a quick but hard-hitting match, but they're also doing this thing with Lars Sullivan that he takes so much punishment in matches. Like, he allows people to hit him and hit him and hit him and hit him, and he doesn't actually go off his feet at any given point in the match. It's kind of that monster, trying to take that monster off his feet type thing. So Oney Lorcan's, giving him his stiff shots that he usually does. Like I said, this was a quick but hard-hitting match that Lars Sullivan eventually gains the upper hand and gains the victory with his weird slam. It's hard to really describe. He just picks him up and slams him to the ground really, really hard. It's not a choke slam. It's not a rock bottom. It's just pick up and slam. After the match, Lars Sullivan goes to continue on with the beating of Oney Lorcan, but Danny Burch comes in and makes a save and prevents Oney Lorcan from taking any more punishment in any way in this one. Good match, and I like the way that they're depicting Lars Sullivan at this point in time. He's a guy who's willing to take punishment, but he doesn't leave his feet. So no matter how hard no matter how hard he's getting hit, he ends up not going off of his feet or anything in that sense. And he does. They've done a really good job with Lars Sullivan so far. I like where they're going with it, and we'll see how everything ends up playing off. You had a Ruby Riott promo backstage, basically talking about what happened in the tag match a couple weeks ago with Nikki Cross, how she didn't even know that Nikki Cross was going to be her tag partner in any way, shape, or form. Says that she's still going after the Iconic Duo, and that if Nikki Cross is there, it's like, okay, she's there, but it's just going off and it's kind of just going off and playing it off like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but appreciate it, but I don't care because I know we're both fighting each other, but now we're helping each other against Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. But I really don't want to help to go along with it. It's an interesting way where they're going with it, and we'll see how it ends up playing off down the line here. Like I said, it's definitely an interesting way of playing it off. They're reluctant tag team partners that only Nikki Cross knows when she's going to help Ruby Riott out with Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, and she's still going after them on her own, at least in her own mind at this point in time. So we'll see how that ends up playing off down the line here. You had Heavy Machinery going up against, well, a couple of jobbers. I did not catch their names this time around. Again, another squash match for Heavy Machinery. Nothing much to really speak about here. We've kind of seen what Heavy Machinery can do inside of the ring. And yeah, the one thing that they added to it is that Otis, the bigger of the two, or at least the thicker of the two, he has this new dancing elbow where he kind of like wheelbarrows around and then drops an elbow on him. It didn't look all that good. I was not very impressed with it, with this one in any way, but I like their finisher, that squash move that they have, like where they literally squash their opponents, where Otis has one of them in like a power slam position, and then the other one jumps on the back and they land on the other guy. That looks sick. Like the guy, both of them look like both of them can depict heavy hitting inside of the ring, but like the dancing elbow thing, I don't really get. That's one I don't get, and it'll be interesting to see what they're actually going to be doing with Heavy Machinery, if they're going to be doing anything really at all in the near future. And they had a tag title opportunity a while back, but they that match didn't come off all that well, so it seemed as if they are kind of on the back burner for the time being, and we'll see if they're going to be doing anything more with them down the line here. You had a William Regal interview. Yeah, this is one of those few times that you see William Regal more than once in a show. Regal was cutting an interview outside of the Performance Center on TakeOver Houston when Johnny Gargano comes out, and basically Regal's like, okay, interview's done for now, I have to talk with him, and he basically announces that Johnny Gargano was going to get a rematch with Andrade Cien Almas in 2 weeks. Or next week or something. I think it's in 2 weeks. He was going to get that rematch, and yeah, that's basically it for that. So we're going to get to see that match again in a couple of weeks. That was a really good match at the NXT TakeOver Brooklyn show, so hopefully they allow them to kind of do what they did back then, or at least a fraction of what they did inside of the TakeOver show. So we'll see how that plays out. You had Roderick Strong interview. Basically, the interview was talking about why he was going to win the title match, and what the match meant to him, because it wasn't just about the title. It wasn't about himself. It was about doing things good for his family, everything in that sense. Good babyface promo from Roderick Strong, but delivered with also pretty good intensity to go along with it. So I did like the interview. Up next, you had Liv Morgan going up against Vanessa Bourne. This match was okay. When it comes down to it, with Liv Morgan inside the ring, I'm not 100% sold at this point in time. She's been down there for quite a while. Character work, she's pretty good with everything that she does. Vanessa Bourne is obviously somebody new that they're just bringing in, so it's going to take some time on her end as well. But all in all, it was an alright match. Liv Morgan goes over with a running, like it looks like she gets caught by Vanessa Bourne, but then she delivers 2 knees to her face. It's almost like a different variation of the code breaker. It was an interesting finisher, but it looked like it took a lot of setup just to get it to work in any way, shape, or form. So we'll see if that's going to continually be her finisher, or if it's going to be or is she in this mode of testing out new finishers or something in that sense. Up next, you had an Aleister Black interview where he basically gave his thoughts on the Velveteen Dream, about like how he's using head games to try to get in his head, everything on that side of it. And saying that he was trying to get Velveteen Dream was trying to rattle him by being bizarre or acting the way that he was, or he was just trying to garner attention to himself, and that he wasn't really going to have anything of it, and he wasn't even going to give any more thoughts on Velveteen Dream or anything in that sense, which means we're going to have a program with both of them down the line here. So this is going to be Aleister Black's new program with Velveteen Dream. It should be an interesting one based off of the stuff that they did during their first meeting. Was that last? I think, no, it wasn't last week. It was 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago, in that sense. So yeah, that should be an interesting one. That, just based off of what they did and the mannerisms that they went with inside of that initial promo with both of them, came off really good. It will be interesting to see how everything plays off down the line here. Up next was Kassius Ohno going up against Fabian Aichir. I'm going to butcher the name, and I just did butcher the name. He was part of the Cruiserweight Classic, but he has definitely put on some size since the Cruiserweight Classic. But he has not lost any of the maneuverability. He was doing pretty much most, Fabian was doing pretty much most of his stuff that he did in the Cruiserweight Classic. And it was a very good showing. I thought this was it was a relatively quick match with Kassius Ohno going over with a bicycle kick. But this is a good showing for Fabian, and I thought it came off like he got to show a lot of the stuff that he could do, everything in that sense. And I thought it came off pretty good in the showing that he put out there with Kassius Ohno. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much more he's going to be shown inside of the NXT area. Not Kassius Ohno. You expect Kassius Ohno to be there, but I mean Fabian in general. It'll be interesting to see how much more he's going to be shown around and how much more airtime he's going to end up getting, and what kind of character work is he going to be, because like he basically kind of came out as a just bland generic right now. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of character he ends up having down the line. You had a Drew McIntyre interview after this, basically him talking about his match. And also about being attacked by Undisputed, everything in that sense. So they're playing it off that maybe Drew McIntyre has Roderick Strong in the back of his mind. And he's kind of wanting Adam Cole and Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. So maybe it's going to play off into Roderick Strong's favor or something in that sense for next week's match, which is for the NXT title with him and Roderick Strong. A pretty good interview. I do like Drew McIntyre's promos. I've liked him since he was doing things as Drew Galloway. So it should be interesting to see how everything plays off and where they go along with everything, and how the match goes next week with Roderick Strong and Drew McIntyre. So this brings us to the main event of the night, which was Adam Cole, baby. I'm going to start doing that now. I haven't watched too much of Adam Cole yet, but the stuff that I've seen I ended up really liking in that sense. And he was going up against Eric Young of Sanity. And this match was basically... It was chaos. They tried to depict chaos in some way, shape or form on both sides. That, you know, you have Adam Cole and Bobby Fish, or not, you have Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. On Adam Cole's side, you had Alexander Wolf, Killian Dane, and Nikki Cross was out there as well for Eric Young. And you had both sides kind of getting involved in some way, shape, or form. Some really like good stuff in this one. I would like to see this as a 6-man tag at some point in time down the line with them as well. I did like this match with Adam Cole and Eric Young. The victory came in the end where Eric Young was sitting on the top rope looking like he was going to drop the elbow on Adam Cole, and but he decides to go out and take out Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, also taking out Killian Dane and Alexander Wolf. And as he goes back into the ring, he gets hit with the leg lariat from Adam Cole to allow Adam Cole to pick up the victory in his first NXT match. And what was a rather enjoyable match, I thought. It wasn't by far the craziest or the best type match possible, but they did give it some time. They gave it time to breathe. You had all the stuff going on with Sanity and the Undisputed Era. It's so weird calling them that, but whatever. at this point in time. And they put Adam Cole over, which if you've noticed as of late, they don't necessarily do that for a lot of the guys coming in. Like Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish lost their first matches in what were good showings, but still losing their first matches. They have Adam Cole go over in his first match here with Eric Young, but it makes you still feel like there's more to this Sanity and Undisputed Era feud. So that's pretty much everything for NXT. I found it to be a rather content-filled and enjoyable show. It's again one of the easier watches when it comes to the WWE product in general. It really is. I do enjoy it for the most part. They don't necessarily always hit the ball, like knock the ball out of the ballpark with that one. With some of their stuff like Heavy Machinery, still not completely sold on them. But we'll see how everything ends up playing off. They are seemingly getting over with the crowd by doing this whole stakes and weights thing that they're doing. The crowd's kind of chanting along with that. The stuff with Aleister Black and the Velveteen Dream will be interesting down the line here. And we'll see how the match goes next week with Drew McIntyre and Roderick Strong. It should be an interesting one. So, with that being said, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you watched it live, I thank you guys for watching there at that point in time as well. And I hope to see you guys next time. I thank you guys for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Peace out. Have a good one.